The late 19th century. An antique shop. There is Mr. Cave, dusting his stock in his little curio shop on the High Street in the Seven Dials, an unfashionable part of West London. See his stooped shoulders? He has a couple of old-fashioned cabinets, and in the window some old fishing tackle, a couple of elephant tusks, an imperfect set of chessmen, 2 skulls of tigers and 1 human, a moth-eaten stuffed monkey, a blown ostrich egg or 2, and a dirty, empty fish tank. And, at the moment this story begins, a mass of crystal worked into an egg. Ah, dear Mr. Cave. He is well educated, but is in an unhappy situation. His wife, who is younger, treats him with contempt, as do his stepson and stepdaughter. He is in declining health.
Oh, dear.
Oh, it's filthy out there, George. I was almost clean blown off the corner of William's Greengrocer's, but I got the stew meat.
Oh, that's excellent, darling. This weather calls for a tasty stew. Lots of peas and carrots.
Let me look at the cash and see what you've done today. Oh, £1, 8 shillings. We had the pound yesterday, so 8 shillings then today.
The weather's keeping them away. You just head up and get the kettle on, my dear, and I'll lay off the table.
Oh, tar then. Be sure you cover the linens with the cloth.
Mr. Cave begins throwing covers on his cases and then the front display window. He stops and holds something up to the light. He begins to mutter because this object isn't anything he recalls seeing in his stock before.
And now, what have we got now? Oh, an egg. By George. Now let's get you over to the lamp, my darling. Oh, why, you're some kind of crystal egg.
2 men approach the storefront. The 2 men have been looking into the shop window at the egg. One of them is youngish and dark, perhaps Asian. The other is tall, skinny, and wearing a clergyman's collar.
Oh, sorry, my dear sirs. I was just closing and
We saw that lovely crystal egg, and I said to my young friend here, dear boy, I must have it.
Yes, my friend collects them. He's ever so keen to complete his set.
I can give you, say, 30 shillings. Have you nothing on you, dear lad?
I'm not a sou. We ate all my cash at the pub.
Well, I can see my way to letting it go for £5.
£5?
And worth every penny. I shall be here tomorrow. I shan't sell it. Now, if you please, my wife, you see, she's waiting supper upstairs. What can be so enticing about a mere... Well, holding it so... Well, I do believe it's glowing. What's this?
Mr. Cave holds the egg up to his eye in front of the lamplight. To his utter astonishment, the egg shows Mr. Cave a view of a wild, spacious and strange country. This is something unheard of in Mr. Cave's time. Nobody has such an object. There may be magic lantern slides, but a full scene that appears moving and alive in a little egg? The year 1893 has never witnessed such a marvel. Mr. Cave feels faint.
George, why on earth must you putter about till your stew is cold? Come out from your cave, Mr. Cave. I'll not be treated like a scullery maid in me own house. You'd better come up, me lad, or there'll be the devil himself to pay.
Oh, sorry. But Myra, you won't believe what I have down here.
After dinner, George. Now come up. The stew won't taste better cold, and the kettle is heated too.
The next morning.
Hurry, my dear. You'll see. It's just as I said.
This had better not be like your so-called Cleopatra's bracelet that turned out to be made in Dublin, for heaven's sake. How much did you pay for that?
Mickey O'Rourke swore he had it off a seaman just in from Alexandria. Good old Mickey. He never steered me wrong before.
Where is this egg, this crystal wonder?
Tell me now, what you see? Here, take it.
Oh, well, I see. I see.
Yes? What is it, eh?
Well, nothing much. Just some light coming in from the front window and through the egg, kind of glassy and white.
But what about the two moons? Do you not see them? And the wild, spacious plain with the wind rippling through those eerie, strange plants like nothing ever seen on this side of the moon itself.
No.
But what about the scenery?
Bless me, I don't know. I can't see anything. Some light seeping in, that's all. Why ever did you ask £5 last night to those two who wandered in? If they come again, take what they offer.
The egg is worth much more, you daft woman, that's why.
Dad, you best let the egg go. You know how Mum feels about your sentimental attachments to your dear curios. Hurting the shop sells.
For once, I agree with Peter, Dad. It isn't like we're selling so much that we can turn away trade. Now, is it?
You three all carry on. Go about your business and let me do mine as I see fit, eh?
Sure, Dad. No need to set up a row. Let's go, Vicky.
Goodbye, children. Do you have those dogfish ready to take to the hospital schools for dissection? I thank my lucky stars and the dogfish that there's a regular trade keeping us, at least hand to mouth getting by. Try to avoid that Simmons, the student's biology proctor, who said your frogs were a bit past it last month. Go to the other one. What was his name?
Indeed, I will. Now, you'd best be getting the lunch made, hadn't you?
Later that same day, in the storage room at St. Catherine's Teaching Hospital, Mr. Cave sits with Jacoby Wace. Jacoby Wace has a spot in his heart for life's outcasts and oddities. Mr. Cave is one of these isolated figures that he had befriended some years ago. They always stop for a chat when Mr. Cave delivers his dogfish for the biology lab.
That's the lot. Do we get the same as last time?
No reason why not. The bursar gave me this banknote.
Thank you, and have a good day. One more thing.
Oh, what's that?
I need to store this for a while away from home. Domestic dispute it is.
Let me see. It feels like some egg-shaped rock.
You're right. It's a crystal egg my wife wants to perfectly give away. I'm having none of it, but you know how Myra gets. She's after me the blessed livelong day to sell it.
All right, say no more. Now, I'll just lock it in the cabinet.
Indeed. That's a load off my mind, then. I'll be saying goodbye.
If you don't mind my saying so, you're looking a bit peaky. I recommend beef tea. Strengthens the heart, the whole system.
Thanks very much. I'll make sure that Myra makes some for us. Goodbye, Jacoby.
He could be blown over by a light gust of wind.
The next morning, Mr. Cave shows the egg to his friend Jacoby, and the latter too sees the little scenes from another world.
You see the two moons there, Jacoby?
Well, yes, I think those could be moons. Your eyes are better than mine.
And there's more. I learned the constellations as a lad. Judging by where they hang in the sky, we may be seeing the first views from Mars. I can see the Bear, the Pleiades, Aldebaran, and Sirius. You see, this planet is in our solar system.
What? Yes, why, that makes sense. Yes, it must be.
I can't tell you how it delights me to see the vast reddish cliffs, the forests of a deep mossy green and silvery gray beside a wide shining canal. Oh, the buildings! They were exquisite, intricate towers and traceries of a pinkish stone, reflected in a mirror-like expanse of water. I seemed to be looking down from a height, a tower.
I also felt I was looking down at the scenery.
And those creatures, the big flying ones with their round heads and luminous eyes. And they had huge leathery wings, like bats. By George, one of them came up right to the crystal and eyed me. But there were also some clumsy furred half-bipeds, rather like apes, feeding on the leaves of the mossy silverish trees. One of the flying creatures flew up, grasped onto the egg, and peered at me. I was shocked, up so close. It looked so alert and almost philosophical. That's the word. I saw the rest of them flying Martians buzzing around, so intent on their usual business. What a contrast this one was to them. The thought came to me, hello, are you like me? Not doing what everybody else is and just mooning about? That large face with its intelligent eyes stared at me so curiously, trying to talk almost. That is what it seemed. Just after that, one of the other tentacled creatures caught one of the ape-like creatures in its grasp. But the crystal fades at times, as you know. I saw no farther than this. I'll take the egg and carry it around with me now. No need to keep on hiding it here. Myra is all distracted with the coming holiday preparations. Sometimes the egg is my only, should I say, friend and confidant, strange as the creatures are.
You may be right, Cave. If we are different types here, why shouldn't they have odd ones and eccentrics as well? Perhaps at least a few of those Martians are as curious as we are, should the situation be reversed, to get a bird's eye view of another planet's doing. Lest I forget, before you and your friend the egg go, did you see any more fauna?
Absolutely. It may be alive. Something huge and insect-like, but to me it looked metallic. It was a gigantic mechanism marching along. But I looked away, and when I returned to gaze, oh dear, how frustrating. The beast was gone. Oh, look at the time. I must be off.
You mind what I said about the beef tea? You still look run down, man. Maybe drink some bone broth, too. You hear?
Yes, Mother. No, thanks for your concern, Jacoby, but I'll be fine. Just fine. You'll see.
Well, see you soon with the dogfish.
See you then, my friend.
A couple of weeks later, at Mr. Cave's shop. It being December and the end of the teaching hospital's term, Mr. Wace sees no more of Mr. Cave. He notices that the dogfish hasn't been delivered for the start of the next term, and goes to Mr. Cave's curio shop, where Mrs. Cave comes out to wait on him in widow's weeds.
Good heavens, Mrs. Cave, can something have happened to my friend?
Oh, Indeed, sir. My poor late husband passed away a few days ago.
Oh.
We found him just where you stand, stretched out and holding that crystal egg of his with a rapturous smile on his face. My poor old man must have been dead 5 or 6 hours before they found him. But despite all me grief, praise be to that good man, one of Mr. Cave's old tradesman friends. Over on Great Portland Street, he bought all our stock. What a godsend.
I am happy for that, at least. Well, my dear, please, do let me know if there's anything I can do. Anything at all. You know how long your late husband and I were friends. Call me, stay in touch, and give me the time of the wake.
Yes, I shall, sir. And most kind of you.
Mr. Wace presses a couple of banknotes into Mrs. Cave's hand and leaves hurriedly, heading for the tradesman's shop in Great Portland Street. A couple of hours later...
Hello, sir. My name is Jacoby Wace. I was a friend of the recently deceased Mr. Cave. I have an important question for you.
Ah, yes, poor Mr. Cave, quite a shock. He and I had business interests in common. He will be missed, I can tell you that. Now, what is your question?
I understand from Mrs. Cave that you kindly purchased his stock. Oh, thank you. I'm sure that is a relief to her. My question is about a particular item, a crystal egg. I'm very interested in purchasing it.
Oh, the egg. Mighty curious about that egg. I had just brought in the last box of items when almost immediately a man came in and bought it. I am sorry, I can't help you. If I had known it was in such demand, I would have asked more for it.
A man? Do you know this man? What is his name? Where does he live?
Now, hold on. That's too many questions. I never saw him before. He rushed in, asked about the egg, gave me the money I quoted, and left as quick as he came in.
But surely you registered the sale, noting his name.
Like I said, he was in and out. I have no record. Now, unless there's anything else, I need to get back to unpacking the rest of the stock.
My apologies. But you see, this is of extreme importance. What did he look like?
Well, he was tall. I can tell you that. That's really all I recall. Funny that. Seemed as though he didn't want to be seen. Quick as a flash he was.
Yes, of course. Here is my card. If he should return, please get his name and address and then contact me. Please, I must know. Did he say anything at all?
I will take your card and do as you say. He said nothing. Now, please, excuse me. I have work to do.
Sorry. If you learn anything, you know how to contact me.
After some days, Wace returns to the tradesman's shop.
Has the gentleman returned?
Ah, it's you, Mr. Wace. No, he has not. But fortunately, I have come into possession of some lovely marble eggs made in the Orient. I'll just go get them.
No, please, don't bother. Here, please look at this picture. Were either of these two men the one who purchased the egg? Now, look carefully. I recognize those two just recently. They were pictured a couple of months ago in the Nature News Journal. It was a story about their adventures in Asia.
Well, this tall fellow... No, I am sure of it. Neither of these men came in the shop that day. I am sorry, Mr. Wace.
Thank you all the same. Do keep an eye out. You have my card.
A few weeks later, at the office of the Daily Chronicle.
All right, Mr. Wace, here's the way it will look in print. With the wide border you asked for, take a listen. Offer, buyer for a lost crystal egg, 4 inches high, 3 inches in diameter. The egg has unique telescopic visualization properties. Contact J. Wace, at St. Catherine's Hospital, box 770, the 7 dials. How is that, Mr. Wace? Are you sure you want to add that bit about telescopic visualization again? Or do you want to go back to certain properties that make it valuable to the buyer?
No, I think we had better articulate the properties. We're getting nowhere, Hattie, beating around the bush.
If you don't mind my saying so, I think that one won't get any takers either, but it might do something else.
Oh, and what might that be?
Convince folks at that teaching hospital that you're a mite barmy. 2 shillings short of a pound.
You think so?
I swear on me dog Basil's grave, I do think that may happen. Make this the last ad, though it costs us a few pennies. You're doing this for your friend Mr. Cave, but make a clean break of it.
I do wonder myself what happened to that crystal egg of old Cave's, but I think you may be right. Thanks so much for the tip.
Any time, sir.
By the way, over at that News Nature journal, I learned that those 2 men Cave talked about had been placing similar ads. The clerk there got chatty and told me, can you believe it? He showed me a photo of Canon Parker and his friend, the prince. Cave had described those 2 who tried to buy his egg perfectly to me. One of the 2 men was this same Prince of Basalcone from Java, and the other was the famous Anglican canon, the Reverend James Parker. But they're having no more luck than I am, it seems.
Funny how these things go. Good heavens, the Prince of Basalcone? Well, I never. The world gets smaller each day.
I myself bring this story to readers so that you too can judge what kind of contact this was. I believe that the crystal on the tower on Mars and Mr. Cave's were in rapport in some physical way we cannot yet explain. One more thing. Cave's wife remarked upon his rapturous smile when he died. In those last weeks, Cave simply lived to view his other world, and the Martian who came back to stare at him curiously several times, it seems. Perhaps our own sad world had so let him down that this was his passport to new adventures and new friends. Others may use words like spying and surveillance, but how we take this story to mean depends upon our orientation to life and the universe. For some, whatever is outside is a potential enemy, and for others, a potential friend. We know how Mr. Cave felt, and now we await, as the saying goes, further developments.